At first, it was just supposed to be a tropical storm, and I got my water and all my stuff and food and was ready to hunker down, and then they kept upgrading it and upgrading it.
I had no way out and very little money to work with, so I had no choice but to ride it out.
My wife and her son, they went up to San Antonio with her family, and I stayed behind.
By about 9 o'clock that night, we were in the left eye wall of the hurricane, and it was like a grinder.
Ceiling fan started turning.
And my whole house was vibrating. I could hear items hitting the sides.
As I was in the closet, if it wasn't for that tree that fell right there and held the old wooden boards from the side of the building, it would have blew the sheetrock right through, and they would have grabbed me and pulled me right out. The next morning, I woke up out of the closet. I opened up the door, and all I seen was water.
As soon as I started coming into town, maybe around Senton, and coming in further, I started crying because it seemed like the farther you go, just the worse the damage was.
I've only been back a couple of hours.
So she's a little bit in shock.
It was, it looks like a war zone coming back to your hometown, so it was kind of shocking. But I had a friend come in from San Antonio to be my moral support, so I wouldn't have to be here by myself.
Well, and then prayers were answered. Y'all are answered.
Yes, because I thought, what am I going to do with all these trees?
It's been amazing to see how God has touched people's hearts and has caused them to want to respond, want to serve, want to get beyond themselves. And we brought 11 pallets of water down today, which wasn't all the water that was given to the church so far. And we literally filled up all of the resource centers in Aransas Pass today and had to take 2 pallets back to take to Houston next week. People's hearts have just been open, and they are pouring out because of that.
The first house I went to, I went up there, just pulled up there, had no idea there was a guy working on the roof, and just walked up to him and just introduced myself. He didn't really stop working, and I just stood there till he acknowledged me, and we started talking. I think he thought I was there to sell something. And once he realized what was going on, his mom came out, who lives in the house. Her name is Pat. And once we finally got about 20 people descend on their house, she was in tears.
So there was a guy down at the end of the street here. His whole front yard was covered in downed trees. When I walked up and knocked on the door and said, "Hey, would you mind if our team cuts the trees for you?" He just said, "I can't pay you." And I said, "Well, we don't want your money. We want to serve you." And with tears in his eyes, he said, I can't believe it.
I've never, ever in my life realized we had so many volunteers and people that cared about us.
And it's just amazing to watch his countenance, just change as the team served him and interacted with him and laughed with him.
And when people are out there to care about you, God's watching. I mean, what else could I say? That's our Lord.